So,
Well, yeah. So it's very interesting. The whole story of Atlantis. They're how did they know exactly the culture? But if it's passed down, if things are passed down, remember the story of like when we were young, telephone, when you whisper something in one ear and and over it comes out something different. So
comes out, yeah, right,
maybe down from the temple to Solon to
yeah,
Plato, and maybe it got bigger and bigger, and
that's possible.
I mean, and things changed a bit
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah, we did that.
You know,
We did that experiment in a psychology class I took, and I'm just like, by the time it got to the other side of the room, I was like, oh my god, that story is so not even what was the beginning of this story. How did that get so messed up? So it just shows you the human nature that it can be very messed up by the time it
but
gets.
a lot of times though, that basically I do think there was an ancient civilization because of everything that was done, like the Great Pyramids. I mean,
Yeah.
all the pyramids all over, they're similar, blah, blah, blah. But I just think there was something with advanced technology. But then it all went away.
Right. Disappeared.
It just disappeared.
Yeah.
Um, one theory suggests that it was an earthquake of immense magnitude that struck the city, leading it to submerge and collapse. Another theory was a volcanic eruption, burying the city under a thick layer of ash.
Mm-hmm.
Some say a tsunami. Some, what else is there?
Right.
I mean, there's so many destructions, right?
Right. Well, look at modern day destructions when like complete cities and stuff have just been wiped out by something natural. Sometimes especially when they go out into the ocean, a lot of times you don't have a lot of stuff that's recovered from that. So depending on how that would happen, especially a volcanic eruption or something volcanic underneath or earthquake underneath the ocean, if that was to be powerful enough to sink an island, let's just say sink an island, that could be very hard to find. I mean, there's things that throughout history we know that things have formed have formed islands. They've also destroyed islands. So just look at that alone. Now, of course, we have some evidence of that, obviously. But was this so powerful that the evidence was wiped out? Part of the, or maybe not wiped out, but maybe just harder to find. Maybe that's what I'm getting at. That it's so deep. Like we've talked about the oceans being so deep in certain places that you can't even get without an implosion. I mean, we don't have that tech for those depths at this point. Could it be that? Could it be that part of the problem that we just can't find it?
I don't know, maybe. It also, like, not only did they say that, there was a catastrophe, they said the actual civilization itself was going on a downfall.
Right.
And one contributing factor could have been the unsustainable exploitation of natural resources by the Atlanteans, leading to environmental degradation and decline in the city's abundance. Another factor may have been internal conflicts on warfare, which could have weakened the city as it left it vulnerable to external threats. And I thought they fought with Athens, didn't they?
According to the stories, yes, they
think so.
They fought with the Athenians. That is true, according to the stories. So, if they actually fought with these people, how do you not think that there's the possibility of being real? Because there's documentation apparently of that. So obviously, some people could say that's fiction too. But if they did actually fight with them, then there should be some kind of something somewhere from the back.
You would think there would be more records, but a lot of things through the years have been destroyed and stuff.
Well, I mean,
and some theories suggest that Atlantis may have suffered from a combination of natural disasters, social unrest, and geopolitical factors that ultimately led to its demise.
Right.
To me, the exact cause of Atlantis' downfall are still shrouded in mystery, awaiting further investigation and discoveries.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't think that's really. What you were talking about there about like not being able to find something about from the fights and stuff. I mean, we have a lot of things that are slowly coming from previous wars in the 20th century, where there was things that, and I mean, that's not even that far back, where records had been lost and somewhat have been found, things that had happened that are just now being discovered. So if we're only talking about less than 100 years of stuff in our past, and some things just coming to the surface in recent history. So if you can lose them in that short period of a time, imagine what we're talking about, 11,000. I mean, that's not like hypothetical to me. That's like very reasonable to think that we can have a problem finding this stuff, because we're discovering stuff every day from just some previous wars in like the 20th century, and that tells me that the farther back you go, the harder it is to find something. But it doesn't mean that it's not real, and it doesn't mean that it's not there. It just hasn't been discovered. And that's my open-mindedness, saying it just hasn't been discovered yet. And so I'm just going to...
because we have so many things to... now we have, modern technology to search for.
Yes.
Like sonar imaging, underwater drones, satellite mapping.
Mm-hmm.
They have all. It's helped researchers to try and find Atlantis.
Right.
And survey underwater, analyze geological formations, and identify potential structures associated with Atlantis.
Yeah, I think you. I was going to say, I think you and I both are the type that don't just write something off just because you just haven't found it.
Well, no, I'm not. I'm not going to. Yeah. I think personally, there was an advanced civilization, and it was over by the Azores.
Yeah. See.
Which was a volcanic. It's said to have been on a volcanic, and the Azores. Islands, they're volcanic and blah blah blah. So that's just what I think.
Yeah, and look how much stuff volcanic eruptions in the last 100 years have destroyed. Things that were there and they're not there now, or just go in the tsunamis or all that stuff. It is so easy to destroy something and hard to find once it's been destroyed. So.
Well, yeah, because the vastness of the oceans, the passage of time. And submerged like remnants between layers of sediment and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Really, cause it's going to hinder the search for it.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, and then you need significant financial resources too to even go try and find it. If you're going to go search for it in the ocean and do all that stuff, right?
Yeah, it takes a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very hard to get someone to back some of those expeditions. That's what they're called, expeditions, because of so much stuff. So many people want to just say, "No, it doesn't exist. You're not going to find anything." And granted, I mean, if you're trying to get somebody to put the money up, I get that. That's very hard. But if you find someone that's willing to put the money up because they also really want to find this as well and be part of that discovery, then I think that maybe the two sides at some point is going to have to, maybe something will happen. Someone who likes to spend their money on something wild like that, and go, hey, you know what? I really believe in this, and you know what? I'm going to give you that money, and we're going to do this expedition, and we're going to hunt this thing down. And there are some people out there that will do that, but they're hard to find. But you just got to hunt for them. I guess is what I'm getting at.
Right. You remember they said that the city of Troy never existed, and they found it.
See?
So
Exactly.
I think you could find. They say this didn't, that didn't, and then they end up finding it. So,
Exactly. Don't don't be so easily to dismiss it just because you think it's just a fictional story. Like say the descriptions and things are so amazing for the time period that he was describing it. Granted, today you have writers that write stuff about things into the future, but I just don't really think that he was making everything up. I really just can't see that. I know there's going to be some people out there say, "Oh, you're full of it," whatever, because there's skeptics out there. We know that. But in my thought process, the more I dove into these things over the period of time, things that I've looked at Atlantis, and I go, you know what? There's something there. I'm not 100% sure what it is because I'm not an expert in this field at all when it comes to Atlantis. I will 100% admit that. But I do have enough knowledge of it from my standpoint to go, there's more to this than just what meets the eye on what you're reading. And maybe it's like one of those things where you have to, maybe it's like the mystery where you have to read these things multiple times and go over things and go, okay, well, maybe this is it and we just missed it. I don't think that that's an improbable because my investigative background, I can tell you, just because you see something the first time doesn't mean that you have it right, doesn't mean you have it wrong. Sometimes you have to look at these things over and over until you get to that right, I guess, nail on the head thing, and you go, oh, we found this. This is right. This is correct. This fixes everything. So yeah, that kind of thing. I don't know. That's just my thought process on it. What do you think? Sorry.
Yeah,
Do you think the same way?
I think it did exist.
I think so.
I think Plato, by telling the story, was also. I think it could have been both. I think he could have been saying, "Hey, here's this tale of Atlantis,
That's right.
how it was, how it fell, and what to do, maybe, and what not to do." Maybe we don't want it. People don't want history to repeat itself.
Right. Yeah. I was gonna say.
Right?
Yeah. I was gonna say. Could it?
So
if it. Right. If it was completely fictional, was it a warning? That's.
Yeah.
Could it be a warning about society getting to so advanced, and possible? That's possible. I suppose. You could have that as well. There's so much debate to inspire this. About the research, and all of this, and I like how regardless of both. Here's what always amazes me: both people who believe and both the skeptics, they always use the legendary city of Atlantis. Well, if you both use this, sometimes I think some of the skeptics are they're saying they're skeptics, but they're at the same time, they're just holding their breath, thinking that maybe this is going to come back and bite. I found that amazing in some of the research that I did myself, and I go, well, why are you both sides using those words? It's kind of funny in a way when you realize that, and. But anyway, I thought it's just something funny that I caught in various different readings and going, wait a minute, you're saying you don't believe, and these people are saying, but they're using almost the same wording, and I'm like, wow, it kind of gets to be unique and funny at the same time. But we dive into these things and try to, what's your thought process on this? What's our thought process? What do you believe about the lost city of Atlantis? We want to always hear from our listeners and stuff, and we're starting to hear more a little bit from some listeners and stuff, and I think that's good.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
or if there's anything that they want us to cover.
Yeah,
that.
Absolutely. Please contact us at the 13th Destiny Podcast at gmail.com. And we certainly want to, and we're trying to expand on some more. Obviously, we got our guest show coming up. That's going to be a test run guest show where me, Danielle, and the guests will all be on at the same time. That'll be a test run. And hopefully that goes really well. That's what our hope is. And then we can, and I appreciate you getting Nancy for us, by the way. My co-host is the one that is getting Nancy for us for the guest, and that's great. I love it. And it should go well. I'm going to have some questions for the upcoming guests, and we should have a really good show. And I see you've known Nancy for quite a while as well, right? Danielle?
Yes,
Yeah.
many years.
There you go. So between that, me and Danielle and everything, we should have a excellent guest show coming up, and we certainly want you to tune in. I'm gonna probably put some more stuff out on X and my Facebook and various other places for the upcoming show as well. So you definitely want to tune in for that show. Because that's going to be a totally different ride from what we've got up to this point with me and Danielle, and I'm looking very forward to doing that guest show. And also, just real quick, Danielle, I will tell you, I had a previous guest that I wanted to do a guest show with that I may go back and if this all goes well. It's not totally paranormal, but it is related to some of the other subjects we may do with her as well. She's a true crime writer, so we may try to get her back, because I did promise her at one time I would try to interview her, and we just didn't get around to doing that. But we'll just see we'll see how this goes, and we'll keep moving forward. And appreciate y'all being here at the 13th Destiny podcast today. And I'm gonna let Danielle say goodbye and then do the music closeout and all that.
Bye, everybody. Talk later. Next week.
Yeah, next week. All right. Thank you for being here at the 13th Destiny podcast with Magnum and Danielle. All right. God bless, and we'll be back next week with our first guest show together. Okay. All right, so we got through it. I got a few things I'll have to edit on it, and if I have to, I will go to somebody else and get some help. But I think I can get most of it done. Hold on, let me get all the let me get all. Yeah, what was up with the dogs? Yeah, I was like, why are your dogs so angry today?
Well, right now, someone at the door.
Yeah. But yeah, I think I can get the majority of it edited. Like I said, if I have to, I will get some help on it. I may have to. Okay.
I bet someone was at the door before, maybe too.
Ah.
The dogs just went.